If you missed the other videos, check out the description or the links at the end of the video. This is the third video, and it is about the state of the channel. I said previously that I'd be trying to speed up the process of making videos. That is no longer the case. I still want to make a variety of videos, but at minimum, at this point, there will likely only be one video per year, and those will be the main videos. They'll be the style that I've always had and will continue to have. I'm not doing this because I can't make more than that, but because I don't want to make something that I'm not happy with again. And I don't really have the time to make more than that at this point. I do a lot of things in my day-to-day to the point I've considered having days where I skip sleeping or eating so I can work on them. But I also have a lot going on in my personal life and day job that makes it harder to do things the way I want to in a shorter amount of time. I have a long line of videos I want to make, but there's a style of video and visual language I want to have that makes people connect with me and my vision of things, my perspective. There may be the occasional video that peeks in that's about something else, something that I want to make and release quickly because I know it won't push out or make things more difficult for main videos. But I don't know when I will really start doing that. It could be soon. It could be in 3 months. I just don't know. So the goal of the channel for now will be to have one major video per year about a topic I want to talk about. And on that, I want to also mention what the next video will be about and the process I take in making a video. The next video's topic is about the service industry. It's because that's the industry that I currently work in. And it's the only industry that I've worked in. I've worked in retail and guest service. Both are different from each other, but they're still both technically part of different aspects of the service industry. And there's a lot of anime that I really like that I think really capture a lot in that industry, both good and bad. Something too I want to clarify, I wouldn't say I make video essays. I don't expect people to take my opinions and ideas about these stories as gospel or even fully analytical, but something between a review and an essay. The purpose is to introduce you to a topic and media within that topic that I want to share with anyone and everyone who will listen. So let's talk about how I make videos, and it will hopefully explain why I take so long. When I make a video script, I'm usually thinking about the topic in of itself, the things that I want to talk about, and then I choose media that fit within that topic. If I choose media first, it usually doesn't work because then I'm kind of searching for things in those topics. Well, in those media that work together as a topic, which isn't always the case. They don't always have something similar. So it's easier to have the topic first and then choose the media within it. I usually choose media that I like as well. I'll hardly ever talk about something that I don't like. I'll be so real with you. If I do, it's because there was something that I did like within that thing that I don't like. So, I also usually think about visually what I want the video to look like while I'm writing it. At the beginning point, it's usually just like the basic scene setups of what I want the video to kind of capture, the kind of atmosphere that I want it to lead with. I don't get too hung up on keeping those visuals unless it's something that I feel really encapsulates the topic itself. So I'm not too precious about that, especially since I might have to rewrite or re-record something. It makes it more difficult to decide this is going to be the visuals if I end up having to cut out an entire scene or something like that. Or not scene, but section of the video or something like that. I do begin creating the assets though, once I have at least finished the script once and I'm going through the editing of it. I always do that in the lead up to recordings and in between that like script editing phase and recording. Because at that point I will need models, I'll need backgrounds, I'll need scenes. Sometimes I do extra like CG visual novel style images and almost anything else that I might need. I don't get any extra B-roll or A-roll of anime or manga at that point, unless there are specific analytical things that I have written about. This can change too as I end up reading the script and recording it. Sometimes I'll realize, oh, that doesn't make sense as like a full, complete thought when I say it out loud. It reads well, but it doesn't sound the same when I say it out loud, you know? So I will sometimes rewrite something for that purpose. Usually too, at that point, if it's just that something is kind of jumbled up, I don't worry too much about changing visuals at that point. I just consider what is a better way to be able to say this as a point. After that, I record at least each section of a video 3 to 4 times. I will listen to each one back and I'll record it at least 3 times. If I feel like it didn't really work, but there are things about each one that I liked, I will record it one more time as a 4th time. And then as I am editing, if I feel like it's not working, then I will go back and record it again. But usually the editing itself, I will take the best reads of each section, put them together as one like long video. No editing, no cutting out goofs or gaffes, things like that yet. And I'll just listen to it one time full through, just to be sure that it all kind of still works together. Because sometimes recording it all separately and then encapsulating those different moods, seeing what is the better read, doesn't mean that they all work together as one read. And sometimes too, I'll go then and re-record those parts that I felt didn't work as well as I thought that they were going to. And then I go into real editing, getting A-roll, B-roll, all that kind of stuff. And it's just cutting down the video at that point. I plan everything so much in between each phase that is typically just editing things down at that point, after I've listened to it and done that like final re-record. The way videos end up may not be as I plan from the beginning, but there are still ways for me to like be fully satisfied with how they end up going. I would say Miserably Beautiful Manga didn't fail for me personally as like a satisfying project because how it ended up being edited or anything like that. It's because from the beginning I kind of had trouble figuring out how I was going to be talking about the topic, and I had to rewrite it, and then I felt like I was taking too long to do that, and then I recorded it and edited it, and then I felt like, oh, that still didn't really work. So I was going to rewrite it again, and then I decided, no, I just need to be done with it. So that's how Miserably Beautiful Manga kind of ended up being not fully satisfying, but still ended up being what I had at one point been happy with writing. So, the editing too was taking longer than usual because I was going to be trying to do some new things in it. Some things that didn't really work. And I decided would take too long to try and reincorporate. So I didn't fully commit to those things in the editing. But that's usually about how it goes. The scripting is usually the longest part because I start with that topic. I do actually a rough layout the way you would any general essay, and then I take that layout and expand on it as a script and as an essay, and then I obviously go back and edit it more into a readable script. So that is like 4 or 5 different edits in of itself, and then I might go back and edit it again once I'm doing the recording. So scripting is really the part that takes the longest, and it ends up being kind of the big toll that it takes is it takes a long time to write, but then also all of my day-to-day stuff gets in the way sometimes, so I'm not always able to write, and then I kind of lose the flow that I would have originally had. So I usually try to lay out that rough layout really early ahead of time, just to be sure that I do cover the things that I decided were important to the topic. So yeah, that's how I make videos. Usually, I would say the scripting itself takes 3 months. I can probably do the recording within 1 month, but that depends on if I end up having to do rewrites or anything like that. And then all of that asset creation is happening at the same time as those two things. So just the asset creation takes probably 5 months. If I'm doing all of the asset creation, like all of the models, all of the backgrounds, all of the extra images and things like that. Sometimes I will commission parts of it, like backgrounds and things like that, like I did for the Slice of Life video. Other times I'll just rough lay out everything myself and then take time to do it in between other things. But it takes a long time since I'm doing everything myself as well. But yeah, next year will be the next major video. Miserably Beautiful Manga came out this year, so I'm happy and satisfied with this year, having met that goal. And this short series of videos explaining the topics and goals of the channel at this point. So I hope it will work out. I'm hoping to aim for the first half of the year so that I can maybe play around in the second half of the year, but we'll see. I might play around with some other videos in between, but if I feel like it's not working, the things that I'm playing around with, then you can expect the next video to be next year, around that early section of the year, hopefully again. I really want to make this content not for the sake of like making content, but because there are things I want to discuss, and the best way to do that is just to talk about them. But there's ways that I want to approach these conversations, which leads into the whole scope of setting scenes and stuff. And as someone with a mind that craves making art, it ends up being that there's just really fun ways to have these conversations. So I want to make them fun or cool or immersive and just have those conversations. I hope you will continue to enjoy this channel and all the stuff I make. Got one more for you, and it's a bit more about me. So, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.